With Amex Platinum,
Welcome to the Centurion Lounge.
you get access to the Centurion Lounge, so the sounds of vacation start before you get there. That's the powerful backing of American Express. Terms apply. Learn more at americanexpress.com/withAmex.
This episode is brought to you by United Airlines. When you want to make the most of your vacation, book with United. They're an airline that cares about your travels as much as you do. United is transforming the flying experience with Bluetooth connectivity, screens, power at every seat, and bigger overhead bins to help fit everyone's bag. And with their app, you can skip the bag check line, get live updates, and more. Change the way you fly. Book your next trip today at united.com.
Hello, hello. Welcome back to Peak Northwest, an outdoors and travel podcast by the Oregonian and Oregon Live, dedicated to the adventure and exploration of our beautiful Pacific Northwest. I'm Jamie Hale.
And I'm Vicki Connor. Together, we take you to some of the most beautiful and interesting destinations in our region, discussing where to go, what to do, and places to see. And today, we're headed to a place people usually travel through, not to, and that's the Portland International Airport.
Vicki, I have to say this right off the bat. I am an unapologetic stan for PDX. I feel like so many of us in this culture get into the mindset of like, I need to get to and through the airport as quickly as possible. Like those insane people, and my apologies if you're one of them, who show up like 15 minutes before their flight. People who like want to just like walk up to the gate and walk right onto the plane. It's insane to me. But as somebody like who grew up flying in and out of like Newark International Airport, I get it. I get that feeling. Airports can be super unfun, but I do feel like PDX is just different.
It is so different. And I feel like, so the other airport that I'm traveling to go back home is Baltimore Washington International, and I'm going to throw some major shade because they're like polar opposite experiences.
BWI, no.
You know, Portland, you walk in and you have a peaceful, magical experience with good food. BWI, I'm usually getting yelled at by strangers. There's chaos, like just very different experiences.
And it's like, even like when I fly back to DC, because we fly back, both of us usually fly back to DC for the holidays. We, or that area, you go to, not to DC specifically. I fly through DCA, which I love. I think it's a really good airport, actually. I think it's the best of that area. But even still, I remember like last time I was there, I was starving and ended up buying an empanada for like $20. And it was bad. I think we ended up eating like half of it. And like, it's actually so bad, I cannot finish it. I just spent $20 in this. So like, that is like the good airport experience a lot of people have. But PDX has consistently been ranked as like one of the best airports in the nation. In the last few years, it has been undergoing some major renovations. So a lot of it's been closed off, and it's sort of been like a lesser airport experience. There's that like super long walk you had to go to get to, like, you know, for me, like to get to Alaska Airlines. But now this year, just a few months ago, they have reopened their main terminal in all of its glory. And to me, it feels like a whole new place.
It's so nice. You know, I love all of, as you walk in, just the ceiling like woodwork that they've put in there now, and just the open airiness feel to it. Just like immediately when you walk into the ticketing area, it feels like, you know, especially if you're traveling on a day where it's gloomy and rainy, and then you walk in and you're like, this is nice. It feels like there's sunshine in here.
Oh yeah. I do want to say, this is not like a sponsored podcast. PDX is not like,
love this place.
We really do. Like I'm very much of the feeling like I like to get to the airport early, not just because like I'm anxious about catching the flight, but because like I want to spend time there. There's the little movie theater, you know, there's like all the good food. There's like cool art. Like I want to be able to stroll and go see things and go into shops. To me, there's so much fun to do there. Why just run through it? You know, because you're trying to catch a flight at the last minute. I don't know. I just feel like it's a place you can spend some time. And so we're going to spend some time today talking about specifically this new area they just opened and everything that is in that spot. So, Vicky, have you been to the airport since they opened that area?
Yes, and not to get us too sidetracked here, but I went, and it was not for a flight that I was taking. I wasn't picking someone up, but I was actually there to film the llama and alpaca therapy animals that
Oh my
come
God.
through. So I was able to walk through that new area with in the ticketing area that clearly has all the renovations in there, but I did not get to explore the different food and shopping options that are now available.
I've explored very little. We did a group project here at the Oregonian where a bunch of reporters went and sort of spread out at this new part of the airport and checked out every shop and restaurant that there is there and reported back. And that story we put out just as we're recording this today. So it is up there. There's your guide to the new PDX. We're going to go through it and talk about some of these shops and restaurants today. So there, we can kind of break this down to three main areas. So I just, first of all, I want to say like that, when you see pictures of the new PDX, the big ceilings that we're talking about, the live trees, all that spacious airiness, that is all like pre-security. You don't need to have a ticket to go see that. You don't even need to be picking someone up from the airport. You can just go and see that. If you're like, oh, I'm not planning to fly out anytime soon, but I really want to check out the new PDX, you can just go do that. Take the train, park in short-term parking, and you can go, you can have lunch, you can have dinner, you can have a beer, you can go shopping in this pre-security area. So this is kind of like, again, I don't know how many people are going to take me up on this idea of like just hanging out pre-security at the airport just for the fun of it, but I do genuinely think you can have a nice time there.
We're talking, you need a hot date idea? We're going to the pre-security area at PDX.
Honestly, that's such a good date idea. Okay, because let's get into it here. I think the main attraction of the pre-security here is up on the mezzanine, which is sort of at the back, and then up the stairs or escalators, Loyal Legion, which is sort of a known a pub, but they've got lots of locations around the city. Loyal Legion has a pub in the airport. Our food critic Michael Russell called it the best airport beer bar in the world.
Wow.
Now, Michael likes hyperbole. I do too. But like, I mean, we're talking street prices for good, there's like a menu of like 100 craft beers. Right up there, you can look at all the planes come in and take off. It's right above the area where people come out when they get off the plane. So you can wait for someone up there. You can meet someone and say, hey, let's wait for traffic to die down. Let's go up and have a beer and a bite to eat before we go home.
Yeah.
A great spot to do that. So they've got beer, they have food in a really good location. I think Loyal Legion is becoming sort of like the main hangout spot in this pre-security PDX.
Yeah. Obviously, we're going to get into this as we go. You can pick up on the theme here, but I feel like I love that they took some of the best and most loved Portland area restaurants, bars, and shopping places and put them into the airport, because it's like taking a little bit of everything from Portland and putting it right there in one place.
It's amazing because it's like you could have a McDonald's, and there is a McDonald's somewhere in the airport, but like, why have these big international chains when you can have like good food from local people? And again, did we mention street prices? I feel like people forget that, but the street pricing is a crazy thing that doesn't seem to exist anywhere else.
I know. It's shocking when I have my layover in San Francisco or, wherever, and I'm like paying $30+ for a tiny minuscule lunch that's not even good.
The saddest prepackaged salad in the world.
Yeah.
$25. It's crazy. I mean, so like you can eat at just real prices. I mean, I know that food is getting expensive all the time, but like you're not going to get overcharged for something just because you're at the airport.
Yeah. Yep. Does Loyal Legion have any food options there? Or is it just beer?
They definitely do have food options. I think it seems to be sort of pub fare. You've got your burgers, your sandwiches, your fries, that sort of thing. I mean, it's a Portland-based pub, so you're going to find more than you would, other places. But definitely a good spot to get some like simple, good hand food. you know.
Totally. All right. What else in pre-security?
So, just to run down a couple of the other places to eat, you also have the Country Cat pre-security, really cool spot. They've got grab and go. The Country Cat was there before, I should say. This is sort of like a new configuration of Country Cat, it seems. But you can get some grab and go sandwiches and salads, kind of like that stuff we talked about, but not $25 a piece. And they also have like a sit down area where you can sit down and have like full table service and have a meal. So it seems like, a lot of good breakfast options. The menu is a little bit limited, but a great place if you want to just sort of sit down and have a bite to eat before security. Say you get there early, you're waiting for someone, or you're on a hot date and you want to eat some, get some table service somewhere there. Country Cat's a great option for that. And then of course, you've got your basic, like, Portland coffee roasters. We know it. We love it. Get your latte or get your espresso or whatever. And that's kind of it when it comes to like food pre-security, but there are a lot of shops there also.
Okay. What do they have shopping wise?
So the one that has caught my attention most of all here is a place called Paper Epiphanies. Do you know about this, Vicky?
I believe I've been into this. It's card store, right?
Yeah, it's like stationery, it's cards, it's like notebooks, it's little gifts.
I popped in there into their Clinton shop as I was waiting for my table to open up at Broder across the street this weekend.
There you go. Yeah, they're a feminist card shop.
Yeah,
is their deal, and it's like seems like such an unlikely client to just pop up in the airport, but like, yeah, obviously a card shop stationary in the airport is a great. That's what you need. You're coming back from a trip, you bought something for somebody, or you're going on a trip and you have a little gift you want to buy. You can get it right there, and you get the card too. I love that this store is there. I think it's so cool. And this is like the great example of like local Portland business. Why not have a spot in the airport?
Yeah.
A really prominent spot. I'm really happy for them.
What else?
We've got again, this is all pre-security. There's also Orox, which is the sort of local leather goods company. I have a wallet from Orox. It's very nice. They also sell bags, belts, other things like that. Orox is great. Missionary Chocolates specializes in gluten-free vegan chocolate truffles, but of course they have lots of other stuff as well. So it's like a great spot if you want to get like a bag of chocolate covered figs, cinnamon gummy bears. Like if that's your jam, you can find stuff there at Missionary. Really, really good options. And of course we have the a Hello from Portland store. This is like the place to get your, PDX beanie, your Keep Portland Weird bumper sticker, your Sasquatch hoodie.
I was about to say, there's got to be a Sasquatch magnet in there.
Oh yeah. Oh, they've got the whole magnet carousel. Like it's like all of that stuff. So that's like a bunch of good stuff pre-security. Whether you're buying gifts or like just walking around, you're there early waiting for someone at the airport, just walking around and checking it out. I mean, let me just say this real quick. And again, you can sit in your car in that big long line of traffic forever and then get to the pickup spot and the person you're picking up says, "Oh, I'm sorry, I'm upstairs. I would have to run downstairs real quick." And then you get kicked out of line and you have to circle back around again. I speak from experience. Or you could just park in the short-term parking and then meet them in person and they go, "Oh my gosh, that's so sweet." And then you can hang out for a minute and then go home.
Yeah.
What are we doing?
That frankly is the move. And my most recent experience, again, when I was there for the therapy llama and alpaca visit, that's exactly what happened with this one woman was walking to meet her best friend who was flying in. And, obviously they had this great reunion. Cherry on top, they got to pet an alpaca and a llama and be in this beautiful airport.
Come on. Hang out at PDX. Let's go. Let's make it happen. So that's all the pre-security stuff. So that's if if you're picking someone up or you're going on a hot date to the airport. So I'm so into this like date at the airport. I think it's such a fun and unexpected idea. If like I was going on a first date with someone and they're like, I've got a great idea, let's go to the airport. I would be I would be delighted. There's so much to talk about there. I mean, come on.
That's kind of a wild idea for a first date. Maybe second or third. I think the first date I'd be like, whoa.
True. All right, that's fair enough. Okay, so pre-security, we've covered that. So once you get through security, there are sort of like two ways to go. And they take you into what's called the North Hall and the South Hall. And at each of those places, there is a different collection of things. However, we should say that they're connected. So you don't have to like go through one side and get stuck over there. Once you're through security, you can go anywhere in the airport, like anywhere in the airport, you can go now. There's no getting stuck at all. So let's start with the North Hall. So this is when we were doing our assignment for the Oregonian to cover all the airport stuff. North Hall was my assignment. So this is the one I know a little bit better. You have this, in each area, you have a little neighborhood of businesses. And the airport told me, they said that, yeah, we sort of designed these after Portland's neighborhood. So like you want to have like a little, it feels like a little, community there of these businesses. And it's not yet complete. Some of them are done. Some of them have yet to open. Some of them are going to open full stores in 2026. So this is sort of like a work in progress at this moment. But as it stands right now, once you walk into the North Hall, the first thing you're going to see is Pendleton store. Boom.
Classic.
Right there. Oh my God. And I mean, I don't know. I'm a sucker for Pendleton. I'm an Oregonian. I can't help myself. The blankets, they got the shirts, they got the jackets, they have everything you want.
Yeah. To note, essentially, I was going through all the video clips that you and our colleagues who are working on this story sent in. And yeah, just the clip that I saw of all the blankets just lining the walls. If I was visiting Portland, especially, and I was going back home, especially this time of year, blanket is coming with me.
Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, they're. I know not everyone loves a wool blanket, but like if you love wool blankets a little bit, this is the wool blanket you need.
Yeah.
I have 2 Pendleton blankets. I have to stop myself from getting more because Sadie doesn't love a wool blanket. She doesn't like the feeling of them, and so she's like, I can't have more wool blankets that I can't put on my body. So it's understandable. So I've stopped myself, but I would buy every single one if I could.
Yeah,
I really would. So Pendleton is there. Right across the way from Pendleton is Freeland Spirits. Freeland is great. Have you had any of their stuff?
I haven't, but I feel like I've seen their really cool branding kind of everywhere.
Mm-hmm. They have kind of like the curvy bottles of different colored glass. Like there's the blue one they do a lot of gin. It's sort of like most of what they do. They also do bourbon and some liqueurs. They did once a cherry blossom liqueur that ruled. I haven't seen it since, but it was really good. And they do in their green bottle is a forest gin. So it's like a botanical gin with like, various like mushroomy, evergreen kinds of additions into it. And it's really, really good. This is like such a good gift. And it's post security, so you can put it in your carry-on and take it back. I love Freeland. It's a women-owned distillery. I'm psyched that they have a spot at the airport, and I'm excited to see when they get a full store. Because right now it's just one of those little kiosks.
Gotcha. So this is retail specific. This is not like a bar area or anything
right.
like that. Okay.
I don't know if they're going to open like a bar area in there. But right now it's just, you can get a bottle of gin there, or a bottle of bourbon or whatever. And it's a really, really good gift, or a good gift for yourself. So Freeland Spirits. And then, just down the way, you have a Stephen Smith tea maker. It's again another local Portland tea company, very recognizable. They sell little boxes of tea, and you can get tea on tap there as well. Iced tea, hot tea. You can get, if you're walking to the airport and need a cup of tea, that's a good spot to go do that as well. And then, of course, a couple of powerhouse spots to eat in this area. Blue Star Donuts.
Whoa.
What can we say? That's a good get for the airport. There used to be a Blue Star in the old airport.
This is a revamped
Yeah.
version.
Oh yeah. I remember going to that old Blue Star. It was a little bit dimly lit. My understanding is they were not made fresh there.
They were
Was
not fresh.
so it was like, sure, it's Blue Star, but now this is like they are made fresh. You can They have like all the options. They've got like 8 donut options. You can get one, you can get a dozen, you can get a coffee. That this is going to be like a mainstay at the airport. I can tell already. Like, how people always carry those pink boxes of Voodoo Donut through the airport. I feel like Blue Star is like making a play at that.
Yeah.
Because you can get that box of that dozen donuts and take them home with you wherever you're going. That's a good move.
Yep. Do they have a little seating area too there?
There is so at the end of the North Hall, there is a big seating area where you can sit and get your donut, or you can get a full meal from the restaurant right there, right at the moment. Grassa, another really a spot I would not have thought about for the airport, but the more I think about it, pasta before getting on a plane. I love this idea. Carbo load.
Put me
Get on
right
the
to
plane.
sleep.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. A big plate of like buttery pasta with a bunch of cheese. Oh, it's so good.
Yeah.
So Grassa's right there. They're doing like fresh made pasta. Like you could watch them make the pasta.
It's so cool. I saw one of those video clips too. I was like, oh my gosh. You got your fresh donuts and then your fresh pasta right there.
Get serious.
Ugh.
In before 10 a.m., Grassa is serving breakfast. They don't do the pasta until after 10. So you can get the breakfast before 10, which is like, your breakfast burritos, breakfast sandwiches, pretty basic stuff.
Yeah.
I went there. I got there at like 9:30, and the manager was like, yeah, you can get our breakfast stuff, but you should wait until 10. You should really get the pot. That's kind of the thing here.
Yeah.
Also worth noting, Grassa has a full bar. You can get cocktails, beer, wine. If you're in a weird time situation, you can get an early morning drink. Some people do that. I feel like drinking a lot before getting on a plane is not my idea of a good time. Just feels like dehydrating. But go for it. Live your life.
God, I know we haven't even gotten to like the other parts of the airport, but I cannot wait to travel for the holidays. And normally I'm dreading it, but at least it'll start and end in a good way at PDX.
So you're saying you need that the pre-flight cocktail?
Maybe.
Okay, so that is the whole north side of this. Then of course we have the full south hall. Similar kind of setup where you have like a lot of these local shops, a slightly different neighborhood feel to the south side. So over there, instead of like the Pendleton, you have Powell's Books, which another big powerhouse, and another one that used to be in the airport as well.
Really?
Yeah, there was a Powell's in the old airport before they started doing all these big renovations. It was great, really nice. This Powell's currently is just a kiosk. They're going to open a full store later, but it's great. Obviously, to have Powell's there you want a bookstore in the airport, but to have like a Powell's, which is like a really good local bookstore, even better. It's not like a Barnes Noble or something.
Right. And I'm assuming at the airport they're just selling new books, or do they have used ones too?
That's a great question. Right now the selection is pretty slim because, like I said, it's just a kiosk.
Right.
Previously, I do remember getting like used books in the airport, which was great. Because again, you're not paying like, way too much for like some pulp fiction. You're able to get like, reasonable prices for stuff.
So
which
cool.
I don't know. I think a bookstore in an airport is a must.
Yeah.
So PDX nailing it with Powell's, obvious. That's an obvious match.
Mm-hmm.
Instead of like, having your Portland coffee roasters, which I should have mentioned, on the north side, there's another Portland coffee roasters location.
They're taking over.
Next to the Smith Tea, there's coffee. So obviously you can get that there. There's like a third one also in the airport somewhere. So Portland coffee roasters is everywhere. But on the south side, you have Stumptown Coffee. Mm-hmm. Different style, different company. It's your good coffee option. Always good to have a coffee spot post security. That's my move. I get through security, I get a coffee, I take it onto the plane.
Yeah.
No shade to the coffee on Alaska Airlines. It's just not as good as something made fresh. So they don't have an espresso machine there. They don't have like, the good beans. It's fine. So you get your Stumptown coffee, you got your Powell's. Right now there are a couple of restaurants that are open. One of them is Capers Bistro, which is an old standard at the airport. They've been there for a long time. It's sort of like a, French bistro type thing. You can get like, like a flatbread, a turkey sandwich. You can get some an omelet or like some French toast, that sort of thing. You can get some like really, bigger plates of stuff. You can get like, wild mushroom salmon risotto. I mean, you can really go big there, but it also has just sort of like some basic, simple stuff. It's got a bakery. Really options for everybody. I think that's kind of the Capers thing. Like, whoever's in your family, this is kind of the thing that you can find something for somebody.
Yeah. Yum. I have not eaten there before.
I have not either, I gotta say, because I'm more drawn to what's across the way from Capers, which is Oven and Shaker pizza.
Gosh, that is also another great. Portland carbs are unmatched at at the airport here.
Airport pizza is it. I'm behind this idea to do pizza at the airport. Quick, easy pizza. We're not talking California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah.
We're not talking Sbarro's. This is like good. I think it's not fully wood fired. I think it's like electric assisted wood fired oven, if I'm remembering correctly, at Oven and Shaker. So you're getting a little bit of that char. You're getting something like really good. But like, I mean, this is if you're expecting like what you might think of when you hear airport pizza, forget about that, and just expect to have like really good pizza. This is what one of the best pizza cities in America. We're gonna have good airport pizza.
Yeah. Did you get to try it this time around when you were visiting?
No, because I was in the other side. I was in the North Hall.
Yeah.
Didn't have time. But our colleague Lizzie Acker got to try it. She had the pizza and she had grassa. Good for her. And she said it was great.
Yeah.
And she said it's good too if you're like, I feel like pizza is a great like family food. You get one of these like, these smaller pizzas that has like, 4 slices or whatever, and you can share that. Everyone have a slice of pizza.
Yeah. And if you have to bring it onto the plane, you got it in your box. It's not being shoved into some random corner where you're like pulling it out mid-flight and it's all smashed together.
And it's a pretty like innocuous plane food. I feel like I've brought like a Potbelly sandwich onto the plane, and sometimes I'm like, this feels like this is like, maybe this has too much of like a smell to it. When like your seatmate brings on like a food that's like just like too much.
Like a tuna fish salad on the plane.
Oh boy. Yeah. Yeah. Like I wouldn't bring the salmon risotto. Honestly, maybe the salmon risotto is pretty good on a plane. I think about it. Just don't reheat it, obviously. So that's the south side of things. And that's everything so far, right? That's there right now. Obviously, when you go into all the concourses, there's more stuff. There's more restaurants, there's more shops, there's a little Hollywood theater. There's the Women in Aviation bar. There's so many things. And the nice thing about this renovation, as we said, is that you can access all of that. If you have a bunch of time and you really want to explore stuff, if you're like, I'm an hour early for my flight, I want to go all the way down to the end of Concourse E to check out like the, Juliet bar, you can do that. You have that access, which is, I think, really, really one of the more underrated additions to this new stuff.
Yeah. That's one of my favorite things to do, is that like, if I know I'm going to be on a long haul flight, just sitting the whole time, I'm trying to like get my steps in and explore all the different corners of the airport. And that one specifically is really nice because there's usually someone like playing the piano, and they have the cool like ceiling artwork that's hanging down. That one's one of my favorites.
So cool. I've never even been over there. Yeah, because I'm always going to my little Alaska terminal and getting stuck there.
Yeah.
I'm a real Hollywood theater guy. Like I go there and I hang out at the movie theater and watch some shorts go through.
I'm jealous I'm not taking more flights out of there, because I do enjoy sitting there and waiting. But I unfortunately am the type of person who does get to the airport just in the nick of time before boarding.
Well, so Vicky, I want to ask you this then. Like now knowing about all this stuff,
Yeah.
and maybe you knew about this before, but like, do you feel like that this might change your habits? Like you might get to the airport a little earlier and take your time.
Well, that's the caveat, is that I'm the person who gets there in the nick of time in the other airports. With PDX now,
Ah,
I do tend to get there a bit earlier and know that it's going to be an enjoyable time. But other airports, it's that in and out mentality. Like, I am trying to spend as little time here as possible, even if it
mm-hmm.
means a little bit of a heart attack. So,
Boy, that little bit of a heart attack kills me. So we should mention, obviously we said there's some other stuff coming in 2026. Some of that is some of the places we mentioned already getting full stores instead of the kiosks. So, Powell's, Freeland, a store I forgot to mention. Oh my God. In the North Hall, a store that is going to get a full store that has a kiosk. My apologies to Portland Gear
hey,
in the North
yes.
Hall, Portland Gear. You know them from their little logo that has the shape of Oregon inside of the P, the letter P, on hats and sweatshirts. They just started a line of backpacks, and I believe they're doing duffel bags now as well.
Sweet.
So they are in PDX and they're getting into the bag business. So Portland Gear is, I actually coincidentally had bought one of their backpacks before they got me on Instagram. And so I've just been using it the last couple of days. And honestly, it's a really good backpack.
Oh my gosh.
It's like, it really works. Not to like advertise for them, but like it's a good backpack.
Yeah.
Comes in a bunch of colors. So like, I feel like, if you're buying a bunch of stuff from these stores, you're at Pendleton, you're at Freeland, you're at Powell's, you can get a backpack and you can carry it all in it. You can shop well in this new section of PDX.
That's so good, man.
But that said, a couple other new places that are coming in on the north side. A Sizzle Pie is supposed to be opening sometime, I think, later this year. So more pizza. You got pizza on either ends here. And then in 2026, we're gonna get a Pilot House Distilling right across from the Grassa. So that food court's gonna have a distillery and the pasta. You can really do a pasta, like a cocktail and pasta night right there.
Mm-hmm.
And then on the south end, a couple of restaurants, we're going to get a Cure Superfood and a Lola's Cafe. So it's sort of more like, I'm sure like your smoothies and your like healthy bowls and some more kind of breakfasty options over there, as well as a Columbia store, which again was an old one in the old airport. Columbia store is going to be great.
Yeah.
I mean, they got everything that they sell. It's another great addition into PDX, I think.
If PDX was winning, best airport in the country previous to this renovation, like I just feel like it's blowing everyone out of the water now.
It's got to be, and I know people love Minneapolis. I've not been there myself. Obviously there's some international airports that are full on attractions. There's one in like China that's got like, a full garden and a huge fountain and like, little magnetic trains and stuff. Like, we're not going to, this is America. We're not going to do that in our airports. But I think as far as like airport renovations go, I do feel like that they did a great job on this one.
Yes.
Playing to like the local pride. They've got areas with the old carpet, where you can go and get your feet in the old carpet like everyone used to do. But it's more about that. I love that they sort of taken like, like we used to think about PDX and just this carpet pattern. And now it's like this, I think about the ceiling now.
Yeah.
I think about this new roof and like these live trees and all of these local shops. Like it's just like a good feeling. And I feel like a sense of local pride being there, which is maybe what they're after.
Yeah, for sure. Even the last visitors I had, they were worried they needed to go get a meal before going to the airport because they didn't want to pay the crazy increased prices. And I was like, do not worry about that. You're going to have a great meal. It's going to be cheap, or, the normal price. So I love bragging about PDX.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Fly into, fly out of PDX. And maybe go on a date there.
There you go. I do want to just say, just in case I teased anyone about the therapy llamas and alpacas that occasionally come through, they do want it to be known that there's no set schedule for these therapy animals. So if you are going to PDX being like, I have got to pet one of these llamas, unfortunately, it's kind of, if you have the right timing, it's serendipitous, but otherwise they're not there. They're not living there all the time. Just got to say.
Wow. That I let go of your expectations. I love the idea of randomly running into a therapy llama alpaca at the airport. Again, what are they doing there? This is so weird and amazing.
They are calming people's nerves. And I will say, I was there for about an hour with them. The amount of tears people shed was real. Yeah. It's amazing. Tears of joy, relief. It was really cool. So
I love that.
If you're listening, hopefully you get the chance to see them on a whim.
All right. Well, folks, I hope you enjoy your next trip to PDX, whether you're going or coming or picking someone up or just hanging out, just checking it out. Feel free to do all of that. That will do it for us for today. Until next time, you can watch our videos on the Oregonians YouTube channel and view all of our travel and outdoors coverage on OregonLive.com/travel, as well as HereIsOregon.com.
Please leave us a rating or review if you enjoy the show. And if you want to support this podcast as well as our local journalism, please consider a subscription to Oregon Live. You can find details at OregonLive.com/pod-support. Also, if you're a fan of the show and you're interested in potentially sponsoring it, you can get in touch with our marketing people at advertise@oregonian.com. This episode of the show is produced by me, Vicki Connor, alongside Jamie Hale.
Stay safe and happy travels, everyone. Until next time, we leave you with this 10 seconds of Zen.